Okay, so I'm going to walk through the four phases of the Octalysis, a little bit of the Octalysis model, showing you exactly how the model could be used or is used to assess a tool. Just a little bit about the Octalysis model that you'll need to know before we do this. So the Octalysis framework, it denotes four different phases of a user of a game experience or an app experience. The four phases are discovery, onboarding, scaffolding, and end game. Okay, so inside those four phases, there's 8 different core motivators that you would use in those four phases to they identify the eight motivators that your user has, and you use game techniques to appeal to those different motivators inside those four different phases. So this is the way this will work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the discovery phase, and the discovery phase is how people actually learn about your app. How do you kind of market, or how do people find out about your app? What is it about when they first find out about your app until they first till they first sign up? How do you motivate them to move through that task? Um, and one thing to keep in mind is the reason why where I'm at, and the reason why I discover your app and the app or the tool and use it the first day is not going to be the same reason that I'm going to have on day 40 or 50 once I've already been using the app for a long time. I'm going to be using the app for several different reasons. So in the discovery phase, some of the elements that we use or that are played upon in order to deliver against those core motivating drivers are pictures, videos. If there's like any kind of a demo video, the copy points and stuff that they describe in here. Any kind of a welcoming screen. We want to use these game techniques to motivate this user to get going on the journey. And in this place, and in this space specifically, we want them to hit the download button and get the app. So on Remente is a self improvement app. It's in the personal growth and development category. You can see it has a good considerable amount of positive ratings. It's a 4.7 stars. It has 1,222 ratings. This app has been around since 2015, so this is about a 4-year-old app. It's a very well developed app. You'll see there are lots and lots and lots of updates, probably like 2 or 3 a month. Let's see, 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So then last month they had two. They had two. So they go on 2 or 3 a month. So they have a very active user feedback here up there supporting this app. So in the discovery phase, I'm starting to look at this, and I'm seeing in here lots of colors, very well branded. They have an owl as their icon, so it kind of stands out because of the colors, and they also play off of this pie chart thing here. They play off the colors in that. That pie chart is a very intricate part of the app, and not only is it a neat looking diagram, but it kind of is the core milestone in the app once you kind of get in there and start using it. So they advertise this Remente as a system of tools, and I would say that pretty much is accurate. It's not a very fun app. If that's the ca- if that's what you're looking for, it's not it's more of a tool. It's goes along more of the lines of a self improvement, almost say, I would say coach, but I'd say more almost towing the line of a productivity tool more so than I would say more of an encouraging or a teaching tool. It does have a lot of teaching aspects in there. It's almost like a self-paced coaching experience. So they list in here some of the things that the tools that this app uses to get you on your journey. A goal setting system, which I don't. Their goal setting system is kind of, it's more a goal setting tool. Um, they break everything down. I feel like it breaks every goal down into reminders, pretty much integrating with the calendar. I don't really see, there's not a high barrier or anything special about their goal setting system. It does help you to become more tangible, but I feel like if it doesn't really present any new information in terms of goal setting. A day planner, life assessment tool, visualizing what's important to you in your life. Now, that's the part that I would say, if any value that was specific, I would love to see how it does that. And I think, just kind of having gone through this app before, it does a pretty good job of doing the visualizing of where your life is in terms of mapping your accomplishments and mapping where you're going and how much work it's going to take. It does a really good job of doing that. A mood journal, and a growing library of courses and exercises. And that's another piece too that I feel like it does really strongly, is it presents a lot of content. So now, in terms of how this rates on Octalysis, so the bigger drive in the discovery phase is, I think the strongest drive is this accomplishment phase. There's a little bit of implied meaning or deeper meaning in that they're wanting you to kind of, they're saying, um, reach any goal, improve your life and your holistic well-being. And the implied meaning here is that if you use this app, you're not gonna, you're gonna be a better person. If you don't use this app, you're not gonna kind of be as valuable, or you're not gonna have as valuable of an experience as you could with the help of this app. So that's kind of an implied higher meaning. The word holistic is kind of a buzzwordy. So that's pretty much it in terms of the bigger core drive. Number one, I'd say most of what they want you to do, most of what they're trying to appeal to, is your sense of accomplishment, your ability to get things done. And they don't bring it up here, but you'll see in a little bit, they're going to have this progress bar, which kind of keeps you moving in through their process. And I put in leaderboard, but I don't really see a very strong leaderboard. There's that chart, this pie chart here, but you're not leading against anybody. You're kind of working against yourself. But it's kind of like a leader. It does kind of work like a leaderboard in that you're working against yourself. They do have quite a bit of ownership in the app, where you're going to put a lot of data in, and after you get it in there, you're not going to want to continue to lose it, because you've kind of invested in the app, very much like a LinkedIn. And then it customizes, the UI kind of customizes, the data kind of customizes, and the reports kind of get customized around you. You can set up all kind of notifications and the reminders, which then again commits you into staying in the app, because you have customized your experience and how it works around you. So you don't want to just lose it or go to another app. Again, there is a fear of missing out that's here. I'm gonna go ahead and start downloading the app so we can take a look inside the next phase. So, at this point, kind of reading this, they're really just trying to pull me in by talking about improving my life with this new experience. Now, obviously, the person who kind of comes to self-improvement is interested in self-improvement. And this tool looks like a pretty tool, a very visually aesthetic tool that I would add to my collection. Using it just by the visuals here in the graph and the chart, it seems like it's gonna kind of really present me with a way of kind of being more organized in how I track myself. So, okay, here's the first page. And the biggest feature I would say they're using here is a glowing choice feature, which is kind of like a curiosity here. The curiosity and unpredictability, which is the seventh core drive. Um, there's a very clean layout here, and then one overarching choice of which way to go, which is this green start button. So once I get started, and it also, they told me it's going to take 1 or 2 minutes to kind of get started. I think it's going to take a little bit more than 2 minutes, because as you can see down here now at the bottom, there's a progress bar, and it tells me you're going to put in a whole bunch of information. So in the we're not quite to the onboarding phase. We're almost there. The onboarding phase, they want you're going to get through the learning curve. We're still in the discovery phase, sort of at the edge of the discovery phase, and that I've already downloaded and I'm starting to sign up here. So let's put this information here. When we move into the onboarding phase, the goal of the onboarding phase is to get my first win. Okay, so what's the first thing that first piece of feedback this app is going to give me that I'm actually doing something positive? Right now, I'm still putting in a whole bunch of information here, so it doesn't have to entice me. It got me into the sign up phase, which was the point of discovery. It appealed me enough to where I decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and start putting in information. And I kind of talked through how it did that, mostly with a lot of meaning and just ability to appeal to my wanting to be accomplished. Yeah. I'm just kind of filling this in so we can go through these. You can see here at the bottom, it's telling me how much further I have to go. So some other things that you could do is you could appeal to somebody's impatience by having them click on something in exchange for kind of moving through this particular phase faster. Maybe you have more of an oracle effect, which is something that I'll talk about on the next onboarding phase. An oracle effect is I can kind of predict what was going to happen to you. So say, for instance, you do more of a guided, maybe you could put some sort of a button here that would say, skip this step. Answer these top 3 questions. We'll fill in the rest, and then you can change it later if you want to skip this step. And then what that does is it kind of says, hey, based upon these 3 little details, I can skip through this because this system is so smart that it can predict what I actually want and need to do. Something like that would really tie me into kind of feeling like this app is a lot smarter, and then I really want to use it. I'm curious as to how it got that smart. And so then now, once it's got me piqued, my curiosity piqued of how smart it can be, I'm more able to listen to it because I'm wanting to see how I can get that smart. That would be like those are some of the type of game techniques that I feel like might really help in this particular scenario. When did you last feel lonely? Because this is just, it's a lot of information. I'd have to have a self-assessment. I have to be a little bit aware of myself before I can get through all of those different questions. But I did it. Okay, 100% completed. And I feel like now that we're kind of straight up in the onboarding, there's my first high five. Now I've finally done something. I've put all my information in. It's given my first win. This is my first high five. It's a badge, and you can see the color change, which gives me feedback that I've done something different. It's a different tone. It's not as green. It's not as murky. So here's my first piece of feedback that, okay, now I've done something. Now I'm going to get started with the actual app. And here's that big attractor. So this is the key milestone here. This is the key milestone chart that they have here. You saw it was in the discovery phase in the iTunes store. What this is I'm using this to assess the different areas of my life. So this is where their framework kind of comes in. They've grouped my life into these different questions that represent the different main areas of my life. And this is actually very similar to a system that I use on my own. I kind of use kind of these buckets to organize my goals. So this actually was really appealing to me because it's very similar to the system that I use on my own. Okay, so now that I've done here, well done. I'm gonna choose the theme that I'm working on. Again, now this app, this is where we're talking about more like the Oracle effect. So whatever focus that I put in here, this app is gonna kind of give me a path to work down that focus. I'm gonna go love and relationships. Actually, I'm gonna go friends and social life. I've tried a couple of these. Now, fun and recreation. Yeah, I'm gonna go friends and social life. Yeah. I like fun and recreation. Okay. So once whatever I pick in here, now this is gonna start to. Here's where the Oracle is gonna start in. Great choice. It's gonna start to give me things that I work on. Okay, I don't want to do that. Explore the rest. 7 years. Okay. Here they're asking me about premium. So what the premium gives me is, this premium gives me extra features in the app. That's basically it. So depending on how enthused I am, the premium allows me to commit more to the plan that the app is going to provide with me. I am not going to do the premium. As you can see, they have very strong premium plans. $40, $50, up to $250 lifetime. Okay, so very similar here. There's all these different plans. These different. Oh, so here's the premium stuff, right? No, these are just content. Let's do this. So whenever I pick a different thing that I want to work on, get fit, up the couch. So this is going to give me information about, oh, there we go. This is a premium one. Okay, yeah. So these are all the premium ones. These are all the premium goals up here at the top. So you have to pay for these information. So this is where they get you to kind of get locked in. Otherwise, what you'd have to do is, here's a freemium. This is just content. This is just information. You can read through this like a journal. But it's not very interactive, it just kind of gives me information. These are resources. Now, when I actually want to start putting my goals in here, I do that. Okay, so I've already kind of entered in some goals. I can enter in complete custom goals, create new goals, or I can use some of the ones we were talking about that I'm focused on family. I can use some of the ones that they have in here. Once I use one of these, this is going to tell me exactly how long the commitment is. It starts today. I read through this whole thing, and this gives me the steps. This is what the plan looks like. It tells me exactly when I will start and when I will finish. How many times I'm committed to it each week. Some of these apps are repetitive, and some of them aren't. So if I decide to accept, this breaks down the goals into steps. Okay, specify each step. They're also at the top. There is features that allow me to record and journal my experience doing that goal. Preparation. Read the course, 3 Steps to Become a Social Star. Okay, so here's the reading information. So read that. Now, this is where the interface has a high learning curve. And again, we are past the onboarding phase. I've had my first real win, which was completing my self-assessment. I've already sunk in quite a bit of data in here. So those are some big motivators. I don't want to lose my data. I don't want to lose all the time that I've already sunk in here. Plus, I don't want, I have the fear of missing out on completing the end goal and becoming like the Oracle effect that I've already seen. So I'm not gonna. These are the things that they use to kind of keep me in here. These are the bigger motivators for why I keep kind of going forward. Also, the more and more that I do this app, the more and more information, the more and more goals I set, the more and more deadlines I set, and then the more this app becomes customized to me, what they call the evolved UI, the evolved user interface, or the Alfred effect, which basically means that it becomes a custom experience that I wouldn't be able to get anywhere else because of all the data that it knows about me. I mentioned the learning curve. The learning curve and accomplishing the learning curve means that now I've invested a whole bunch of information. I have ownership into the app, so it keeps me from just quitting the app now because I know how to do it. I feel like I know a little bit more than the average person does when they just started. So I'm no longer a beginner now that I know how to use this, and I know how to kind of break down goals. All these are all left brain motivators in the Octalysis system, and they are not as feedback and interactive friendly as I would like, because it like I said, it's just a lot of, so far it's a lot of work. It's a lot of long-term commitment, and I'm not getting very much feedback in there. So that's one thing that I would say about this app. Like I said, it's more of a tool, it's more of a platform than it is really a engaging experience. Add to day plan. So there's integrations here. Again, now they want to get on my calendar. So if I were to actually take this off, it now affects some of the other apps that I use on a day-to-day basis. Okay. So that's this one. So now we're heavily into the scaffolding phase. I'm doing a lot of setup. I'll basically be coming back in here every day. There's different types of tasks here. Again, I can set days, so I'm putting a lot of information in here. And at the end of it all, what I can do is I can move statistics. I can start to pull reports from the data. I can retake one of these again to see where my status is. So see, like if I did this again. This is if I changed my goal. There, it will actually show me what my last one looked like. There's the 20th. Show me my last ones. Me. I had it show me my last ones earlier. It will show me my last assessments. There's the 20th. It's in here, but I can take those assessments again to see how I've changed over the last time. I can track my completed. So the last actual phase of Octalysis, like in the scaffolding phase, I'd say the bigger strengths are just a lot of ownership and accomplishment, putting in a lot of information and wanting to come back because I would have put in an investment of money, but a lot of investment of data and a lot of integration with other apps. So it might take a whole bunch of dates and rearrange my whole calendar because it integrates with my calendar if I decided to just leave. Those are the bigger motivators to keep going and keep going forward. Now, in terms of the end game is what happens when I've been in here for like 3 to 6 months and I've started to accomplish and I've started to hit some of the, beat some of my goals. And then what's to keep me in this app for the long run? What happens after I am one of the veterans? How does this app motivate me? Well, that's where I really feel like this app is very weak because it does not allow me to kind of graduate my meaning or my purpose towards the mission of improving my life. It's great and it's pretty okay in the scaffolding phase because of the UI, but there's no hook at the end. Some examples might be like if this were to let me share this app with my friends, allow me to put my goals into the resource marketplace so that others could use them. So now I'm contributing to the cause of self improvement by building my goals and making my goal plans usable to others, or maybe somehow putting my journal content into their YouTube channel to where now that I've become a master at using this particular interface to achieve my goals, now I become more of a teacher than just a student. Those are some in-game ideas. This app, I don't see any in-game whatsoever, which is common because a lot of apps and tools, they do not plan for the end game. They don't plan for, like I mentioned to you at the beginning. Reason I started and got this app on day one is not going to be the reason why I use it on day 60, and they have not really planned for that. So that's basically the whole analysis that I would say. Like I said, I've mentioned some areas where I think an app like this could do a little bit better. Some ideas for the end game specifically. I think inside of the scaffolding phase, it does a pretty good job. That's the strongest. I think it is. It has the strong experiences inside the scaffolding phase with all that UI and the evolved UI. But there's not really any surprises. There's a lot of earned lunch there. There's not really any Easter eggs, or there's not a lot of fun. There's not a lot of curiosity. There's not a lot of pieces that would just kind of make me want to come back every day, other than the fear of losing all of the invested and committed information that I've already put in there. I'm not exactly sure what's on the log for updates to come, but I would say for this particular app, they need to have something that's a little bit lighter to make me kind of want to use this every day. I mean, I don't want to lose it. I wouldn't erase it off my phone, but I probably wouldn't put it in to get notifications so that I come in here every day. It just does not, it just does not do that for me. I could probably make this a habit. Maybe that would help. So anyway, that's what I have for